Hi, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you the steps that you're going to have to take if you're looking to repair your fuel line, replace your carburetor, or the fuel filter itself. The first step, if you're looking to do the fuel line and the fuel filter, is you want to open up your fuel cap and empty out the fuel into a container so it doesn't spill all over the place. Once you've done that, you can either leave your fuel cap in or you can take your fuel cap out. Get something like this with a little hook on it to dip down in there, hook up, grab your fuel line, and pull out your fuel line and your fuel filter. You're just looking to do the fuel filter. Get a flathead screwdriver and just pry back the rubber really easy, nice and evenly. That way you don't ruin the line and have to replace that too if you're only looking to do the filter. If you replaced your fuel filter, you can go ahead and push it back in and reattach your cap. I went ahead and loosened things up so it's quicker. Go ahead and detach the back face plate here. You'll need to remove this with a flathead. Once that's loosened, take the top cover off. Flathead again back here to take off your air filter. You can try and pry it off right here and not take the carburetor off, but you may not have enough clearance to put the new fuel line on. So you'll probably have to take off the carburetor, and that's a couple more steps. What you'll need to do is get an 8mm socket and take these two nuts off the carburetor. Next, what you'll need to do is flip the chainsaw on its side and take out the flathead screw that's up in here. And what that's going to do is allow this top handle to come up. Okay? It's going to tip up and you'll be able to take the top cover off. That way you can get access to your throttle linkage down here, disconnect it from the side. This throttle linkage sideways, and that'll disconnect the throttle linkage. And then back here on this side is the impulse line behind the carburetor. You just use a flathead screwdriver to push back on that while you're pulling out the carburetor. Once the carburetor comes out, you have full access to the fuel line, and what you'll do is just pull the fuel line out, put the new line in, and then from there hook up the fuel line back to the carburetor. When you put it back on, you'll put the linkage back on, connect the impulse line, and then put your two nuts, slide the carburetor back on, put the two nuts on, and then just do everything in reverse order. The last step you'll have to do then is grab the fuel line down on the inside and attach your new fuel filter. Then you're good to go. Loosen the screw on the back of the handle, and now you can lift up. There's going to be pressure there. Okay, now if you look, it just came apart. That's fine. The linkage, look, goes in here to right here. Okay, and when you go to put this back on, there's a little notch right here on the side, and that's for this spring here. Okay, and that sits down in there. And this is probably the biggest headache of it all, because you got to get everything lined up properly with your linkage in there, and then you got to put the top cover back on. It's got a little slit in there to slip over the throttle linkage. You got to dip that down while holding all that in place, and then put that screw back in. So that takes a lot of patience right there. So from here, once this is disconnected, you can turn this sideways and you can push on the butterfly pad, because you just pull it back, and then the throttle linkage will come right out. If you're replacing the carburetor, it's simple. Once these two nuts are out, you disconnect the two lines. You just pop your new carburetor on and put in, once you slide that back on, put the new fuel line on this side. There's this impulse line on the back here, and you might need to get some needle nose pliers to kind of fish that line onto this side. And once you do that, connect your linkage over here, and once that's hooked back up, like I said a few seconds ago, you just hook this back in. Hopefully this video helped. It might get a lot more thumbs down than thumbs up. I'm alright with that. I just wanted to show you guys a few things so it helps you with your process. Thanks for watching. See you next time from the Neighborhood Go-To Guy.